One thing I've started doing over the last couple years, and I believe you've gotten a few of them, but like if I see something I love, you send a voice memo and be like, Kathryn Hahn, you bitch, how dare you be so good in this show? Because I just feel better when I'm throwing it out there. So I'm like, if I see someone in a role I love, you are getting a voice memo from me that night.
If timing is everything in comedy, these women have the precision of a Rolex. We've gathered 6 hilarious actresses to talk about their work and what makes them, well, tick. Kristen Bell, Hannah Einbinder, Kathryn Hahn, Natasha Lyonne, Jessica Williams, and Michelle Williams. They're on the record, but maybe just a little off script with The Hollywood Reporter. Hi, I'm Lacey Rose. I'm so excited to have you all here. Let's get into this. And we're gonna start with a question for everyone. Kathryn once said, don't worry, wait. Quote, my friends and I were laughing because a million years ago on my IMDb page, it said, Kathryn Hahn, known for her over-the-top facial expression.
Yes, that's true.
Which had me wondering, what's the wildest or most amusing thing you've read about yourselves?
That was pretty humbling to see that on my IMDb page. I kind of had to check myself. Known for her big face.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, Harrison Ford did call you his Yoda.
Yeah, he doesn't like talking about that. So that was weird that he said that. I was like, he said what now? But yeah, I've seen it where it's like, ooh, irreverent millennial. Take sassy style, like sassy is one that I used to get a lot where you're just like, oh my God, sassy.
Natasha, I did see one about you that I felt like was super funny.
Oh, good. I think it's better than mine.
Okay.
Please tell me.
I think it was Rudolph who said this. She's a hooker with a heart of gold minus the hooker part.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes,
That's
but
fine.
I do accept cash in exchange. Maya knows that. At various points, she was, I won't say pimp because that's weird. Yes. Heart of gold, though. Heart of gold.
What were you going to say? Without the hooker part.
Yeah, without the
I
hooker
loved
part.
it.
I do like to, charge a guy. This isn't appropriate. But, if somebody spends a night, I'm a virgin. But if they do, even if I'm like, I'm already in love with this person, like, meh, leave a $2 bill, would you? Go source one.
$2.
I think it sort of puts men in their place.
Totally.
You know what I mean? It's an exchange. You're paying them to leave, as you know.
100%.
I was going to say maybe, because you know how net worth is the first thing that comes up on anybody? I am susceptible to just clicking on it out of sheer curiosity.
Like how you're doing, just a measure of your,
Yeah, and I'm
value
like,
in that
I don't
moment.
think that's true. Or I look at it and I think, well, it should be more. So then I have to call Maya and see if we can get any more gigs. Heart of gold.
Heart of gold.
I love that.
That's fine. Normally I just see Jessica's feet, like photos of her feet.
Wiki feet.
Yeah, I don't, nobody's asking about my net worth, I don't think, yet.
I'm always like, well, I've
Yes.
spent a lot more money than I should have. If that's my net worth.
Yeah, right. It's like, I gotta do better.
It's gone.
Yeah.
If you see a Kristen Bell type, a Natasha Lyonne type, an insert your name here type on a character breakdown, like, do you have a sense for
Whether or not you'll get it?
what does it mean?
I think for myself, early on in Hacks, when Ava was kind of more all over the place, it was kind of like messy, alcoholic, millennial bitch. that felt like kind of the she's a mess and everything's going wrong. Like that felt kind of the
That was the vibe.
I don't know what it would be now, but I think that's pretty amazing. That
That's
was
pretty amazing.
what people wanted me to do a lot back then.
To me, it would be dependent on what it's placed in, what the script is, Because if it's like a Kristen Bell type and it's a story about a family, it's like, maybe a young quirky mom. But then if it's I don't know, a person who's probably quirky, because I keep going back to the word, it's going to be an older person who's dating, but she's kind of quirky, Not, for me, it'd be play this character 90% inside the lines and then 10% all over here. Is how I interpret my vibe.
Do you have a sense for what a Michelle?
I don't know what I look like out there. I have no idea.
To be perceived.
Yeah.
Is that how you stay sane?
Yeah, I guess. I really don't know. Try not to take on what
Yeah.
somebody
people.
what
Yeah.
somebody might say I am or am not.
Yeah,
By the
I had
way,
to stop.
Michelle's burner account is buck wild. So not on Instagram at all, but the memes.
Yeah, I had to stop like trying to be a certain way in my acting and like especially comedy, and I wasn't really like working as much. And then I know for me with my choices, I try and do things as specific as possible so that nobody else could do that scene the way that I did it with those weird choices that I did. I can't worry anymore because if I'm self-conscious while I'm working, I'm not doing a good job. Like I don't want to see my face. I don't want to see it back. I don't want to, I don't really need that much feedback. I just want it out and then that's it. Because for comedy, it's like you kind of have to be like, and not like a fake ugly face, but like, when some girls are like, I'm ugly. It's like, no, you need to, like, you really need to go for it.
Yeah, but you also like do come a point where you try to figure out if you're comfortable in the lane that you're in. Kristen, I feel like I heard you say at one point that your husband gave you sort of a piece of advice
She's
about
here,
this.
though, don't.
Oh, and that's what I was gonna say. Yes.
Yes,
she
I'll
is.
explain the story. So earlier.
But it's fun.
So yeah, no, it's great. It's just embarrassing for me. But I guess that's why we're here.
Good one.
That's why I called you all here. Earlier on in my career, like, I don't know, probably like 15 years ago, when I felt like I wasn't booking the things I wanted to book, but I'm gonna also bleed that into the things people wanted me to book.
Sure.
And it was like, lost another role. Okay, no, it's Michelle Williams again. That's okay, great. No, it's Michelle. Okay, it's gonna be Michelle. It's gonna be Emily. This great, perfect, love it. I love those girls. So happy. And my husband was sitting there with me. He's like, you know what? Stop trying to drive in other people's lanes. You're not going to be Michelle Williams ever, but you have a lane on the highway and you can speed in it. So just do what you do and make your own lane. But you were the example name in that because you are like this goddess of the craft. And he was saying like, he was basically saying, not you in particular, but don't use a goal, like figure out something more internal. And it was when I really digested that, like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna like do my thing and see if anyone likes it, as opposed to try to be anything else. And then
guess what? It worked.
it started working, yeah.
It is the only thing. It's like the game is like trying to pay attention to your lane when there's so many other funny people and great people. And it's like, for me, that's the only thing that worked. Is like, what about this actress? Because we all have actresses that like are always in the conversation before, that's our job.
Let me make this very clear. I still want to be Michelle Williams. I'm not, that has not gone away.
Yeah.
I just also like being Kristen.
Yeah.
I think Kristen's pretty great too.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't think I have a lane. I don't think of it. Like it's such chaos that I just kind of like, I'm like,
You?
yeah.
I don't think of you as chaotic at all. I'm beginning to resent the word chaotic because I think it
God,
undermines.
I'm so sorry.
No,
What if we get into it?
it
That's fine.
undermines
Please do.
the power of what we do. But I'm just saying that there's so much about you, like myriad colors, infinite.
Yeah.
But none of them do I think of as chaotic. Just
And you're so singular. You're so singular. Like you're so like. I mean, I'm obsessed with you. I've been trying to be cool, but like.
Oh, God.
I get teary when I talk just because I'm feeling emotion. But you're so singular. Like there's nobody like you. So I'm. It's just funny how we all see ourselves.
there's no crying at the comedy junkie.
I cry all the time, dude. I cry all the time.
Kristen, I'm going to go a little bit back in time, but it's you were cast in Frozen, and if I'm not mistaken, you pushed to have your character, Anna, be someone who you needed to see as an 11-year-old, as a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what that was all about.
What happened at 11? You don't have to tell us.
I was, let's see, I was about 4'3", about 60 pounds. They thought I had a thyroid issue. I didn't. I was just a really slow developer. I think that when I booked that, I'd always wanted to be a part of Disney animation. I obsessively watched those movies as a kid. I'd always sang, it was like a dream come true. And I read the script and it was great, but it felt like something I'd seen before. It felt like this beautiful formula that always works. And I guess what that story is I really pushed because I thought, I don't want to play the princess with good posture. I don't want to play Sleeping Beauty or Snow White because I loved them as a kid, but I couldn't really like identify. They were more like on a pedestal for me. And I wanted the girl that I wanted the girl who had a princess crown on, but she sat like this and she talked too fast and she wore her heart on her sleeve and she said things that were embarrassing and then she backtracked and she had accountability and she loved everyone ferociously. And so that was what I was trying to add there, is like, can we make her the person that I really needed to see on the pedestal when I was 11?
Does that mean like a little bit broken or fractured a little bit?
Yeah,
Insecure a little and like that, but while taking over the world kind of
for
thing?
sure insecure, but in the way that, but not from any sort of like deep trauma, but just insecure in the way we all are insecure. Like, am I being accepted here? Can I try harder? All the things I felt like I was going through and still go through. A more like, do I fit in kind of feeling? And someone who, just wasn't fitting the profile of that.
So I guess my follow on that is, for all of you or any of you, what are the subtle or not so subtle things that you push for in these characters that you play because it's something that you needed to see at any point in your life? And maybe it is right now.
Well, buddy.
Yeah.
I'll take it, folks.
Take it.
Take it away.
Yeah. I will say, that like, and I sit next to my freaking icon here.
Ayo.
My early queer.
I skated in on that one, but I'm into it.
Yeah.
I accept it.
Like, my freaking queer icon over here. But like, I think what Hacks has been able to do for bisexual representation is give like a vivid inner life and a reality to this character. Obviously, we know that when people write to their own experience, something is just far more lived in. And as a queer actor myself, playing a queer character, I can, add my zest. So it's like, it is. I mean, Ava, and like even in this season, like there is a polyamory arc that is just not fetishized or the butt of a joke. It's all real.
Wasn't cold.
Yeah. Oh my God, dream. But yeah, like it just it's there have been a lot of amazing queer films and queer television that has predated Hacks, of course. But it always like warms my heart when I get messages from people who feel like, oh yeah, this is like an in-depth and non-fetishized representation of bisexuality. So it's nice. It's cool to be a part of. And I too, reading it, like even when I read the pilot, I was like, oh wow, this is like immediately in the first episode, I feel it. I feel that this is a person I know.
Do you feel like this kind of a queer component is something that you slowly laid in track for? It was always embedded because you didn't want it to feel like front-footed? You'd want it to just be embedded?
Oh, certainly. It's always been there. Like, a lot of our writers' room are writing to their own experiences. Like everything that we have like older comedy writers, like older female late night writers in the writers' room. Like everyone who is telling a story has a person and an incredibly talented comedy writer to represent that lived experience. Like that is such a key thing. I think it's like this great symbiosis where like, because I live a queer existence, like I am able to like lend various like, well, I don't know if they would be like coming at the same time in the shower, like perhaps there's like one person is like topping and you know what I mean, like that type of a thing.
Super valuable. We do.
Like just things like that on set. Sort of, and then also the inner life stuff too.
And the whole character.
Also that.
It is much harder, I think, to talk, in full depth about process comedically for some reason that maybe has to do with this kind of 11-year-old shame. But sometimes I see these and it's all the boys and they're like, and then what I had to do was, for us, I think it's always a little bit, I don't know if it's a female thing or something, but you want to stay very humble in it as if it just kind of rolls off the duck back. But everything that everybody is saying really about, embedding it with an inner life and a backstory and that kind of thing, it's worth noting that it does require just the same amount of gnarly work, but then pretending like you're not doing anything.
Yeah,
Something which I'm assuming is the truth for all of us.
I think absolutely. Are there things that any of you have brought to these roles because they were things that you needed to see?
I certainly feel like a lot of it is aspirational. Like I sometimes, a lot of the time feel like there's something I can say through someone else that I can't really say in my own life. Like I remember thinking like I could only, when I was like a kid doing theater, I was like, oh, this is where I'm telling the truth. It's like
interesting
between like the curtain up and down. So yeah, I feel like I learn, it feels like I can be, there's certain things I'm sure you guys feel the same way, that I can like touch that I maybe am not ready to in my own life, or that it looks fun to try.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to go
totally.
home with it, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
I mean, I don't want to be as like lofty
Sometimes
as
I
being
do.
like between action and cut. It's the I feel most alive. I heard someone for real say that one time, and I like.
I do.
didn't
I do.
really
I
know
have
how-
that. I
You
do.
have that?
I do.
I don't know.
I mean,
how I
I
feel about that yet.
I feel like I'm like surfing or something. Like I feel like I'm making myself laugh. I'm listening to the other person. I don't have my phone. Nothing else matters. This is what I get paid to do,
I
which
know,
is
it's nuts.
awesome. It's like started doing this like make believe sort of thing as a kid. I always knew I wanted to do comedy when I was a kid, and like now I get paid to do this thing, and I'm so like in the moment, and it does for me. It feels like a rush. Like it feels like
I would
I'm
agree
on
with that,
drugs
but I think
sometimes.
more mine has to do with like an ADHD brain of like in real life, I'm like doing all the things at all the times and I can't focus. And when I come to work, I know that's my job. So what I can do is leave Kristen on back here. And what Kristen's paying attention to is where her camera is and where her mark is and what the lines are. But I also don't have to think of what to say because that's also kind of hard for my brain and I stumble a lot. I'm like, well, I know exactly what I'm gonna say. I know exactly where I'm gonna stand. And so now I can just be, it's kind of what we were talking about how you fall asleep if you put an audiobook on.
Yeah.
So part of your brain has something to do. And that's why I feel super calm when I'm doing it. But
Yeah.
also to speak to what you were saying, like when the curtain goes up, why I at least sometimes would try things I wouldn't in my real life or say something more truthfully than I would in my real life is because you don't go home with any of the consequences of that character, right?
Yeah, of course. Growing up, it's like I feel like I took pieces of people. There's like really amazing Black female comic actors, like Queen Latifah was amazing, Whoopi Goldberg, Maya
Jumpin'
Rudolph.
Jack
I've
Flash.
watched. Like, are you kidding me?
Yo.
Like, are you like? I mean, just these legends, but it still wasn't quite right. So I had to take I take all those pieces of these people, and I even take like Tracy Morgan. Like I take Tina Fey, like all of it, and I just hear whatever's funny. It just sticks in my head, and did as a kid. And I was like, whoever that weird kid is, like it's all. What I do now is just pieces of all those weird little things because I didn't quite see that when I was.
I do that. Like
a young
they
Black
say
girl.
that, whatever, steal from the best or something.
Yeah.
But I'll find myself doing I just made it about me. On Russian Doll season 1, I also ate a raw egg yolk for breakfast because she was hungover. That was a straight up Rocky riff. And then throughout, I would also do like a lot of, I think maybe Jenna Rollins is one I'm most guilty of stealing from, just because we all know, like I love when she's like, woman under the influence and so on. But I think it's interesting the way we
I
kind
can
of like
see that in
find
your
these
work, too.
touchstones
Yeah.
and we kind of go for them.
Yeah.
Also because you knew that they could go big or go home in a way, and then they get embedded,
I think the thing that's so interesting though about comedy specifically is like what everybody's talking about is that you remember it. Right. Because you don't want to remember, I don't want to remember the worst times in my life. My brain snaps back from them. But but I can remember them if the memory is full and there was like an appreciation of the intrinsic humor in like the circumstance, because it's always there. Like you just have to like look for it and find it. But you want to, the thing that makes you laugh is the thing that imprints in your mind. It's the thing you want to go back to, you desire to go back to. So like when like hearing you talk about like that moment that Jenna Rollins has and like these things, like they stick because they give us pleasure. And like it's the most, and that's the thing that we want. That's the total recall that we always want to have.
Totally.
And so I think like, so how can I bring, where's the light underbelly of this dark, dark beast that makes the thing honestly, to be honest, more honest. Because it's always there, like you feel it in life. Like it's a completeness,
Michelle's so smart because they say that, in childbirth, because it's so traumatic, that the brain will sort of forget that experience such that you're able to have a
Forget the
second
pain.
child just evolutionarily. And it's a little bit what you're talking about like the beauty of comedy is that you're not imbuing it with this kind of head trip in a way, even though we all know it's so hard to do. But I think it's a little bit what you're touching on is like, you want to have this like human memory of that was special.
You're so
and just as
right.
soon as you color it with like, trauma or baggage or that was a heavy scene,
Yeah.
you're kind
You
of
have
like
to
taking
split
away the
from it.
gift.
Yes. It's almost like you were saying, because it is like a fever dream sometimes, like those scenes, as opposed to like a strictly comedy scene, that you're right. You're like, that's so, it makes so much sense to me. And sometimes you do forget the like really heavy stuff is kind of, at least I do, it's like kind of, you feel like you come out of like a fog, you know. I just want to also like sidetrack and say, I don't know if you remember this, Michelle, but you were doing a play at Williamstown.
Cherry Orchard.
Oh, Cherry Orchard, yeah. And I was just like, I remember.
Ever heard of it?
Ever heard of Chekhov? But I remember you also doing Dawson's Creek at the same time and being so just like, that you were like still connected to all those parts of yourself as an actor, that it wasn't like one thing or the other. And I just remember being like, that's like an aspirational thing for me too, to be able to be so curious about so many different avenues of expression and performance. I was like, anyway, it's a tidbit.
But I'm guessing having both lanes was probably quite important to you, particularly in that moment.
I think it's really great when nobody gives a shit what you're doing. It's so amazing when nobody cares and nobody's really watching, and you're just like, well, okay, I'm just gonna careen wildly though, and just like sort of see what I'm all about, and like if I can. What I can do or what I can't do, what I'm like interested in, what I'm curious about, and like where I want to go, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
And
When
that's
was the
that's
shift?
like the best.
When was the
fantasy of like, for us, like, you know, I love these guys. We've been knowing each other for, we go back.
We go way back.
I mean, like 20 years.
Yeah, it'll make me cry.
I think to your point, what's a little bit hard now is everything feels so disposable onto the next. And so even if it's a big hit, it's about awards and outfits.
Yep.
You know, it's about winning at life. And if it's not, it kind of falls into obscurity of like, and it feels dirty. I think it's hard when there's so many shows and stuff that you're lucky if you're catching one or two. Right. I miss that, you know?
I also think it's super important in our community, in any workplace. I think you should be absolutely haphazard with your compliments. I think the other person feels better. I think you feel better. You're just pushing out goodness into the world. And I don't mean that like to try to be heady, but like one thing I've started doing over the last couple years, and I believe you've gotten a few of them, but like if I see something, which is every night, would try to take some time to watch TV with my husband, reconnect. If I see something I love, you send a voice memo.
So
Be like,
nice.
"Kathryn,
It's the best.
on
It's the
you,
best.
bitch. How dare you be so good in this show?" Like I have to tell people because I don't want to contain it. I can contain it, and I contained it for many years, but I just feel better when I'm throwing it out there. So I'm like, if I see someone in a role I love, you are getting a voice memo from me that night.
I also
so
feel
awesome.
Yeah, I bet.
I also feel like that on set too. It's like coming up from, I did like sketch and improv, and from LA, there's like a lot of meanness in comedy and in scene partners, and there's like a lot of even guys that will use you as a punchline, and there's cliques, and there's like inside group, especially like
cliques are tough.
The cliques are, they feel bad, and I hate that feeling of like there's an inside group and an inside group. So I know when I'm shooting or working, especially in comedy, I'm like, no, I'm here. Let's yes and I'm here for you. How are you? And it makes the comedy come out better because you're giving goodness, as opposed to trying to do a comedy scene and the other person is kind of not open or warm and kind of stonewalling you. And so I feel like as like someone like on Shrinking, I do a lot of support, and I feel like my character is like, I feel like my character is really good at going in and out with everyone in their relationships, but it's always the first thing is like, okay, how are you today? Let's do this. Like, no dumb ideas. Let's do it.
It's
And
not fun to act with someone who's an island.
Oh my God. And now that I'm older, like coming up, I had so many bad comedy teachers and mean comedy teachers, like dicks, like real
That's so
dicks.
incongruous because comedy is supposed to make you happy.
I know. And now that I'm
Baby,
their
baby,
age,
I heard of Lenny
girl,
Bruce.
Yeah. But like now that I'm older, past those teachers' ages, I could not imagine being that kind of teacher or actor.
I think we have an obligation to cheer each other on, personally.
I think that's right.
I think that one of the gorgeous things about getting older, like growing up in this business, and life extension is coming. I'm gonna send you all stem cells later, but it's miraculous that you move from this kind of false narrative that I think is set up by advertising throughout industry for this young woman, this 11-year-old, whoever it is, that for some reason women are supposed to be against each other. It's just empirically not true. What we really want to start doing is making it a more of a team sport and letting go of, so long as one of us is winning, that means we're all winning, because I need you guys in jobs, like in order for them to be understanding that this is the new aesthetic. It's so I think that is a real game changer that I'm personally just so grateful for.
It's so hard, especially if you're like Black. There's like a million times more, especially for comedy, like white parts than there are Black parts. And so there is this insane scarcity. So there's still like this, I always have to like, it's why I try and like make sure that my life is full, because this business, especially if you do comedy, you're just like, wow, like we're not there yet for like people of color. It's really like, it does put us against each other in a lot of ways.
So
it
outdated.
really does. And they'll be like, oh, this person, we're just gonna go with this person. Or there's one person of color at the moment, and that person just gets casted in everything. You see, it happens all the time. But it is like, there's just work to be done.
Yeah, it's like, for sure. Tokenism and like extraordinaryism. And it's just kind of like, hey, just like a talented actor here to help.
And I think part of it, like perhaps a solution is just like more people at the top who are able to make the decision. Like, period. I will say, like on Hacks, like, having Paul and Lucia and Jen and having like a very queer and diverse writer's room and like feeling like those are the people who hold the narrative, like those are the people who create the characters, who cast all the best guest star parts on Hacks are women. They are almost all women. Maybe there's one man. Like it is, you know what I mean?
Especially like to what Hannah was saying earlier about like working like also as a queer person in your character and part. It's like working as a Black person in story, like always the story is first, and then coloring within those lines on the day. And our set, luckily that works for our show. It's not like every show, but hell yeah, I'm like I always learn the lines, and then I come in with like 5 different ideas about, and then there's the other person. That's also that.
It's also, I feel like I love the shift from this, when I was doing comedy a long time ago, the movies where it was all about alts. So like it would just be the camera still on you, and then they would be shouting stuff out at you, or you would be like in this panic to come up with stuff that really wasn't actually connected to the scene
that drives
was
me crazy, because don't you feel like after that started, then we hit a point where alts became so exciting that everyone was like, we need to try so many alts. And I would be like, that's so interesting that you say that. I kind of find it funny the way that it's reading. What if we just got it like this? Why am I not getting
writer's credit if I'm improvising?
But there was some like Step Brothers lines and stuff that I feel like you did.
We improved that whole thing was basically
and were completely brilliant and part of pop culture to this day. Are they not?
But I can only. I don't know if you guys feel this, but I'm not. I never did sketch. I never did
fair.
So it's for me. It's if it's rooted in something.
Sure,
I can get behind. Then I can't just be like, contact lens.
Right. That's the key.
That's what I'm not getting.
That's actually the
That's what I'm not
sequel
getting the
to
part.
Contact is just Jodie Foster looking around for a contact.
No.
Contact lens.
But at the height of wanting alts and improv, I feel like everyone got super excited about going, a contact lens in the middle of the scene. And I always felt insecure about saying like, I'm here for anyone trying anything. Do you think that raises the stakes or is our foot still on the gas for the scene if we divert to the contact lens thing? And you don't ever want to poo-poo anyone's idea, but I feel like the only way it's worked best for me, or the way that I like it best, is like how Mike Schur works, is where the alts come in the form of what they call a candy bag on the day. So like you get your sides, and then you'll get a little piece of extra sides, and those alts are only because there was an argument in the writer's room about which one was funniest.
Oh, I love
so
that.
if they could not decide what the funniest one was, then you go, fine, okay, put down all 3. We'll see if they'll do all 3. And then you have 3 like A+ jokes. It's not like who can find something, and that feels a little bit like wild and
it depends on the set. It's like I don't mind them. I'll just be like, let's see what comes out is what I do.
You came from
I go,
that
okay, let's see what comes out.
I love the shift from that into this more like kind of gnarly on the razor's edge, not just like joke, punchline joke.
Sure.
Like I feel like that's a lot of, I don't want to speak for everybody, but that's when I look at this table, I see like, it feels really gnarly and complicated and a lot of like other stuff coming into it that's not just one or the other. It's like the experience feels like much more realized.
Yeah.
Like
as
more
a-
dimensions
Yes.
than one dimensional
Yeah.
of like, this is a comedy, here's the setup,
Yes.
here's the joke, here's the setup, here's the joke,
Comedy's
and the show
different
is
now.
end.
But we're also talking about very female-centric comedy,
Yeah.
which is why it's like you're allowing for this kind of expansion.
Yeah.
I'm curious in the choices you make, how your own sort of family and world factors in at this stage.
I think that what I'm beginning to learn in adulthood is that it's never okay to bring that kind of like personal backstory of like, this morning was crazy, or am I meeting this person later for tonight? Like, to try in any way possible to compartmentalize those two things.
Yes.
Because I love
Fair.
the work.
That
Like, I
comes with-
love showing up with that. That's a maturity thing.
I think, and I also feel like the scramble or the panic
Yeah.
starts to like, I always think of like the space shuttle with all the shit attached to it, and as it's taking off, like stuff, like the unnecessary stuff starts to fall off. It's menopause for me, but I do think there is like a prioritizing of it's interesting, like I played a witch, which was like exactly where I was supposed to be at that particular age in my life. I love it. It was like felt like, okay, this is like where I was like pregnant. I was like quirky best friend, pregnant woman, horny pregnant woman, witch. So I'm like curious to see.
An amazing century.
Classic Aubrey Plaza art.
It's a fabulous arc.
That's kind of it. Who knows what's
a
next?
little bit different of a perspective, and everyone to each their own. But like, I can't physically operate in the world if I don't have some part of the morning or evening with my family. Like, I am so rooted in that life, and I can explain it best as I say, like, I like being an actress, but I love being Kristen. And if I had to choose between the two, it is a no contest. I would quit this career in a heartbeat. But I know that about myself. And about 15 years ago, I guess 12 years ago, it's my oldest is 12. I was like, what if I just tried to see if I could leverage? And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna shoot outside of LA anymore. I'm just not. There's stuff that shoots here, and to be honest, I don't care how good the director is or how good the script is. I don't.
You won't do it.
I personally, me, not everybody else, I wouldn't care enough.
Right.
I'm not trying to do the Revenant 2 in wherever they shot that.
Yeah, we got
or
big money for you on
Antarctica.
that, though, babe.
I don't need to do that. It wouldn't fulfill me. So I said, like, no, don't even send me anything if it's not shooting in LA, or if it's not early enough in the development that I can say we have to shoot in LA. And I've been really, really lucky, but that does bleed in a little bit. I mean, you know this also because we've worked together. Like, it bleeds in a little bit to when I get there in the morning, I will absolutely compartmentalize and shut that off. And I'm never trying to bring baggage, unless it's happy, playful, fun stuff that would excite us to set. But then at the end of the day, I'm not really here for let's do a couple more just for us. If we've got it, I need to go home and reconnect with my family, because otherwise I can't come in tomorrow. Right. I don't. Those bookends have to be intact for me.
I wish, because I was away from my kids for that amount of time, that there is still a being away from my son, like when he first got his driver's license and being like across the country and like that kind of stuff is,
But I think that's a very important part of the female conversation that is often left out, because we can be in these roundtable situations and we can talk about how awesome this career is and all the hard work we do to get here and stay here and have a career with any sense of longevity. But what's not said out loud a lot is like, what are the other components that allow you to do that? And for me, it's that. It's saying no to a fair amount of things because it won't work. My brain won't function. And it's okay to prioritize your social life and your family life and your life as a human being. Because if you don't have all of that, what are you even pouring into the acting?
Sure.
I think performers and actors who might be watching this or like, you know, getting clues about how to succeed, I think it's really important for them to hear, like, have a full life as a human being. Otherwise, you don't know how to act like a human being when you're in front of a camera. I don't think it's said as much. Again, this is 11-year-old Kristen, what she wanted to hear.
And also there's seasons, like sometimes you just gotta grind. Like,
there you
there's
go.
seasons, like we're all in different points in our career. Like really.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
And so I'll stay
Yeah.
for alts and I'll stay and get the shit done, but I also don't have kids yet. Like I
Right.
haven't gotten to that point in my life, but like there's
I'm with you,
seasons for
though.
grinding.
Yeah.
And there's seasons for
I hope to
seasons
go
for
to grad
grind.
school at some point. You know what I mean? It's like,
Hell yeah. What do you want to
I hope
study?
to go to-
What do you want to study?
I would like to go to grad school. I would like to study perhaps environmental science.
Cool.
I love that.
The only way I'm going to get a degree, right?
Michelle, this was
Yeah,
something.
baby.
Dying for Sex was a show that initially they were talking about LA. You weren't interested. You said, quote, it wasn't necessarily the thing that I saw myself doing. I'm a mom. I got all these kids. I'm going to do a show about what? So tell me what you were actually scared of. And
Well, the only reason I get these parts is because she won't work on the East Coast. So that's the
Best joke you've made ever.
So thank you for being such a dedicated
dramatic
mother.
reading of that quote. But tell me, like, what actually was the fear in this one?
It's not that for me. It's really not. It's actually like the clearing of fear. Like that's just something.
Interesting. Okay.
That's just something for life, and that's just not something. I just never know what's going to happen because I don't create my own material. I'm in like a patience game with myself. Like how long can I wait? Does this need to be said? Does this need to be said right now? And does this need to be said by me? And that's kind of like that's my sort of criteria. And you have to wait a long time if you're not talented enough to make your own material, which I'm not.
Highly doubt it, buddy. Known you a long time.
I just sit and wait. And so when this came up, I wouldn't say that I would have, it's not what I would have prescribed for myself, but I knew immediately that it was where I was going to go and it was what I wanted to do. It's just I couldn't have designed it myself.
I also imagine this is one where having an intimacy coordinator was an absolute godsend. I mean, you are trying to figure out how to fake 6 orgasms. I'm taking words from interviews you've done.
She would never. Is it a full McGillicuddy on the outside?
No, you don't see the, I mean, you don't, like, there's no, you mean like a...
Did it happen? I mean, I'm a never nude. I've tried. Nobody wants it.
Wouldn't go that far.
But you just
Yeah,
mean that
that's-
emotionally because it's about sex and orgasms and that kind of thing.
You know the thing that you really do need though is like a supportive family because I'm like I'm fine to do this kind of material. I'm committed to it. I'm like it's got its hook in me, and you do need to have like a husband and I mean if you're in a partnership and you have children, like you need their full and unwavering support to be able to go and do these things and to say. Yeah, this is something that we're working on as a family because I think when you do something, when you like take time away from your family, the other people in your family need to sort of step up and like fill your shoes a little bit, and so they have to like believe in what you're doing to be able to rise up and fill the space that's voided for that period of time in shooting, and so I'm lucky to now have this like place that I can jump from.
Didn't your daughter also your oldest daughter was one of the people who said like, please go do this. Excited specifically
She said,
about.
I'm glad it didn't come out while I was in high school. I'm
Fair
glad
enough.
it came out while I was in college.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but she's a different generation than how we grew up.
Yeah.
And so she didn't have to like fight for this insistence to be expressive and expansive and messy. She's just there. She's just there.
How old is she?
She's 19.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa. Yeah, she's 19.
Michelle, what the fuck did that happen?
I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know, but she, yeah. So I kind of think of them all as like real family projects.
I love that. Kathryn, I think at one point, did I read about you having a conversation with your son when he was around 13 or so, where you said like, please don't Google me? Am I remembering that correctly?
Good luck. The body of I've been nude in a lot of stuff. And thank you.
By the way, thank you so much. I never get this affirmation.
Family first.
Family first.
Exactly.
And it's always, it's never felt like it has not been necessary to say, and it's never been something that I've been like, I didn't know going into it. And but definitely my son, or my kids, whatever, we have a good separation of church and state. Like the stuff that I do usually is not stuff that they would watch unless it's like a big comedy, whatever. But we have a pretty great, we don't talk about my work. Like we don't really when I'm home, my mom, they make fun of me relentlessly. It's exactly what they should be doing at teenagers.
Yeah. But some of those early comedies, presumably their friends watched.
Step Brothers, my son told me when he was like 15, he went into a big party and he went into a room where a bunch of kids were standing around watching Step Brothers. And he said, Mom, I just walked out the room. Like he was like, I just turned and walked out.
But Kathryn, I feel like you're such a heavy hitter, just as a performer, that I haven't seen all your nude work. Maybe I could get a supercut later, but
yes,
I think of you more as like Julianne Moore, like flying across her art space with the merkin. That to me is sort of like a third category.
I think so too.
And so I always think that when you're doing it, it's a little bit more in that pocket.
Yes.
It's less like, hey baby, come check it out.
That's never been my currency. I feel like, and I
know your lane. See, this is
100%. It's like, it's not for. It's just to show. It's just what a human woman body. It's like in there.
I did more nudity this season than I have, and I have found it really, I found it really empowering and like liberating.
Cool.
I also do look to actresses who have done it, and I feel like they're cool for doing it. I don't know. It has like made me feel a lot just better in my body.
Is it about like feeling laid bare around something that you're not holding back?
I think it's just like taking away this puritanical socialization that we all have received as women. Like the idea of being shirtless for like, I really think we're going towards a reality in a society where like the female form is just like normalized. Like I think that like this thing, like why? Actually why?
There's such a build-up, right? Because then you do it and you didn't die.
Right.
Nothing happened.
No, it's like we're just animals.
People, man. It's like these are two bags of fat, dude.
Like, you know what I mean? I feel that has been like just, and it deepens like my comfort with myself and just being like, okay, all of my friends have like seen me undressed and like nothing is different and we're cool, and now that's out there. I'm warning my parents, like don't, but other than that, it's like cool. We're like
but it doesn't matter, right? If it's in like a male lens or for some purpose, right? That is kind of like you can shoot it safely. It's tethered to character, not to fantasy.
Yeah,
and then
it's justified.
Yeah, I mean, then it's super cool.
Yeah, I think the only times I've ever done it has been with a female creator or director.
Totally.
So it doesn't feel like that outside, like that outside gaze looking at something, like judging it. It just feels like the experience
and we had
of
the wiki feed equivalent of like freeze your nips. What's it called?
What?
No,
Free the nipple.
What? You know that website or whatever.
Just a nipple
It's just
tracker?
nips.
Wait, the nipple? What?
Is it a nipple tracker?
No, it's the one where
What's the nipple?
they show you all the naked people in freeze frame.
Yeah, it's like
It's like just
I don't know it by
screenshots
heart,
of
but I know what you mean. The
What's the
concept.
name of that thing?
It is. It's just like nakedstuff.org. Like
.edu.
actors naked.
Where it's just like
screen
screen grabs of like everybody, because really what you're doing is giving people the right to go into that website and find it all, which is like, I don't know, like, serious people. Like, you got one boob here, one boob just a little bit there. Like, nobody wants to play that fucking game.
We talk a lot in these forums about sort of what it takes to get into these characters and that process. What's the thing that you guys do to feel normal again, to get out of it and feel like you again? What are your things?
Easily walk into my house, get ignored by my children, ask them how their day was, have them roll their eyes, and instead, under their breath, just say, "What's for dinner?" Like the grounding of being on set and having someone go, "Do you need a water?" And I'm okay, thank you so much. The etiquette and the politeness of feeling like a queen and going home and having my kids be so brutal is absolutely what I need to ground me again, to go, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
I also think the older I get, the more I'm allowing myself the luxury of taking time off. We like going to Machu Picchu or we love getting out of anything that is.
I like hearing that for you because I've known you for a very long time and you work more than anyone I know.
Oh, I'm starting to really enjoy.
I like this for you, Han.
But this is a question when you're saying
please.
Because I feel like I'm so one track actor for hire that when I hear you talk or it's like I don't. How do you take care of all of it? I don't understand how brains work like that.
Yeah.
How you can be here and then here and then here and feel so confident in every avenue.
To create something?
Yes.
I remember our buddy Amy Poehler did that Lucille Ball documentary, and it was all about if you want to get something done, ask the busiest person you know.
Yes.
I think there's something to that of just
the more you do it,
it's
the more
mental.
it happens.
Kind of, or just the more, you just have 10 different FDXs in Google Docs, and kind of these are the different projects, and then time does its own thing where without putting any pressure on anyone of we got to get this out because we're in trouble. It's more just it'll kind of start naturally shaping.
Love it.
But it is hard, having all those tentacles, because I miss that. The a 2-hour fitting for my outfit or something. But it is really special because I just feel like we're at that age of we want to be doing, more of our own thing, even if they fail. It's kind of fun, or somebody else can come punch it up. But
do you ever shut down brain-wise? Can you compartmentalize in a way that you're because your brain is blowing my mind?
It's definitely, it's changing. But I think part of it is just the expertise of not over-personalizing things.
A light turn here. What's the role that strangers want to talk to you about most?
They're like, are you waitress number 4? That was so dropped in that I felt like the weight of the tray was
perfect.
So
Perfect.
Did you go to high school together?
What's the part for you?
I would say it would be a combo of, for a long time, Jen Barkley from Parks and Rec, and I was not in that many episodes, but people freaking love that show.
Well.
And then it's Agatha, the witch.
Yeah, for me, Daily Show, I get a lot of that.
Yeah.
Jon Stewart show.
So good on the Daily Show.
Jon Stewart show.
Thank you. Shrinking this Love Life season 2 and
you
The
get
Bear
everything.
and The Bear, which I'm not on.
Which you're not actually on.
God.
How do you respond to that?
Everybody says I'm on The Bear.
How do you respond?
I just go, not me, but
you
thank you so much. I'm on a different one, but thank you. I get
That
that
one's good
all the
too.
time.
Well, if I had to say overall, it's either Veronica Mars or Sarah Marshall. But I also think that's because the name was in the title.
Sure. Fair.
Because no one can remember the title of the show I'm on now. And so they just go, I watched your show. And I politely go, thank you so much. I'm glad you like it. But it's usually one of those two.
What about you, Michelle?
I'm a clean split between Wendy and Lucy and Dawson's Creek. Oh. It's just two very different walks of life, but those are
Wendy and Lucy.
Those are the two.
Forget it.
What about you?
Definitely. I
What do they say?
What do they say? Are you the annoying girl from
Do they still say that?
No, that was just season
That was
one.
season 1, okay.
People are nice. It's usually gay people who are all right. But they're more so absolutely, so it's I would say Hacks. I've been really pleased to get more people though being I saw your Max special.
It was so good.
Thank you.
It was so good.
It's been nice to hear people watching my stand-up, but mostly Hacks.
What about you, Natasha?
For sure, Rationale, it's a show I created with Amy Poehler and Leslie Headland, and but it's really my baby opus. I think that show is the thing also that I feel most connected to fans when they talk to me about, because I'm like, oh, this is a real simpatico. You don't have to bring this one up. Poker Face is fun to talk about, but it's a little bit more yeah, I know, crazy guest stars. But I do want to kind of take a decade, owe it to myself. Sometimes I guess I see people I really admire, Greta Gerwig or Jordan Peele, and they really somehow manage to extricate themselves, focused on one thing at a time. And I do have a dream of just allowing myself that shot and seeing what comes after that, you know?
What's the most used emoji on your phone?
Emojis are fun. I'll say it. Emojis are fun.
They are
They're really
fun.
fun. They convey a lot more than words sometimes.
Really?
I overuse one in particular that I would prefer
eggplant.
not. 100%.
Very funny.
If you send me, if you were to be like, let's meet at all time at noon, here's what you're gonna get from me, eggplant. And you're gonna know exactly what it means. It means I'll be there and I love it.
See, I'm so glad
Probably just this.
Okay,
Just
yep,
one of
yep,
those.
yep.
Are you
I
a
love
big
that.
surfer? That's rock and roll and this is surfing.
No, but I'll also do a surf.
like, call
a
me.
surf. Yeah.
Very excited and
What's
early.
yours, Sam?
You know, mine's a heart.
Just a
Just
Which
feel-
color?
Is it?
You know, it's blue.
That's nice.
Blue's pretty.
Yeah, I feel like just generally the world, just what the world needs now is love, sweet love, and I just made that up
See, Angel, you are a writer.
just now. Yeah.
Does anybody do the green and pink heart? Because since Wicked came out, that's used almost as much as my eggplant emoji.
I go double flames a lot, and I'm not sure why. I'm a little bit over it.
You'll also
and
drop 100, the 100 one.
Oh yeah, 100. And
it's
I
kind
am
of
a
you.
big surfing emoji person. I'm like, hey, what's up? You're surfing the web. Congrats. Peace out. You know.
On that note,
Thank you.
thank you all for doing this, and cheers.
Oh, cheers.